recently I've seen a bunch of people on Reddit, in the Twitch chat, YouTube comments asking how can I prepare for New World's upcoming expansion. I want to get back into the game. I'm going to play a little bit before the expansion comes out. Are there any things that I need to do before the expansion arrives on the 3rd of October? So that's what today's video is going to be about. We're going to be talking about a list of sort of most important to least important in terms of things you can do to prepare your character for the paid expansion. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor, Streamlabs. Streamlabs Ultra is an amazing suite of tools which you can use to create content for YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, you name it, all platforms. For YouTube in particular, some of my favorite features include the thumbnail maker, the highlighter tool, and also the general alert system Streamlabs has. The highlighter tool is a particularly useful one if, like myself, you like to live stream but also have videos on YouTube as well. By setting it up, at the click of a button, you can create clips from your stream, and then after the stream is over, you can organize the clips, trim them down, delete them, add transitions, and then export directly to YouTube, saving you a lot of time and money with expensive editing software. I highly encourage you guys to check out Streamlabs Ultra. Make sure if you do, use my link in the description down below. Thank you very much to Streamlabs Ultra for sponsoring this video. Now, one thing that I do want to get clear is, from what we've seen so far, and we haven't had a chance to play in the test server, so we don't know all the details, but from what we've seen so far, there's really not that much that you absolutely have to do. I think getting a character to level 60, because it is an endgame expansion, you won't be able to go to 65 if you're not 60 first. So I think that is the most important thing, and I know it's a bit of a stupid thing to recommend in the video, like a no-brainer, but some people have a misconception that, you know, this is another sort of fresh start event where it's good to start a character again. I think if you do want to start a new character, I would recommend it because the leveling experience is so much better. I actually recently made a new character just kind of for fun. And yeah, it is actually enjoyable leveling up a character compared to how it was during release. But there is unlikely going to be any fresh start servers, so I think if you really want to sort of get ahead now, make a new character now just to sort of get yourself back into the game, get that character to level 60. That's going to be tip number 1. Tip number 2, once you are at level 60, there are a few things that you probably want to get done just sort of to initially increase your character's power level and sort of set yourself up for success in the expansion. And the first thing I'm going to recommend is popping into the Brimstone Sands region. You'll pick up a quest. I think it's in this outpost over here. It's got a shiny symbol over it. It's like the main quest symbol, and it's called Strider of the Sands. And if you do, I want to say like this 4 or 5 quest chain, something like that, it will eventually lead you into the capital city of New Corsica. And once you have the main quest to go to New Corsica, you're going to see a quest pop up where my character is now. And this is a skill progression quest called Secrets of the Heart Gem. And you can see that big bold text that says Heart Rune Unlock quest. And this unlocks the new item that they added in the Brimstone Sands, your Heart Rune. So without this, you are effectively like an ability down. It's almost like having a third weapon that just has an ability tied to it. So yeah, once you do the main storyline of Brimstone, you follow it for enough until you get to New Corsica, and you'll see a quest pop up over here. You go talk to Anna Rosa, and you follow the quest, and she will give you a blue Heart Rune. She'll give you the Cannon Blast Heart Rune there. Cannon Blast it's okay, you know, it is maybe not one of the most exciting heart runes, but it's decent. But effectively, the most important thing is it unlocks this slot. And then if you want to earn other heart runes, my recommendation would be Stoneform for healers, Detonate for DPS, and for tanks, Stoneform also great, or Grasping Vines. You get all of these heart runes from doing dungeons. So the Stoneform, the one that we talked about, you get that from the final boss of Lazarus Instrumentality. So maybe trying to get a normal run of Lazarus, if you can find a lobby. There's not that many people doing dungeons these days, sadly. If you can find a run of Lazarus, you can get Stoneform from the final boss there. The first boss of Genesis, which is, I think he's called Alluvia Mal, the guy who summons the vine walls out halfway through the fight. He gives you the Grasping Vines. Detonate, which is very popular for DPS players. You get that from the Ennead dungeon, which we don't even have unlocked on this character because it is a new one. But that would certainly be something that I would look to do as a level 60 player coming back into the game. Unlock the Heart Rune. It's a powerful item to have. The next thing we're going to talk about is weapon mastery. I haven't done this on this character yet, but leveling up the weapons that you're most interested in. So spear and bow we've been working on. A great sword I think is very strong right now. Great Axe is also a good one. Honestly, most of the melee weapons, but the meta is probably going to be changing a lot in the expansion. So if you're interested in mage gameplay or the blunderbuss or the musket, whatever you want, whatever you enjoy, probably getting it to weapon mastery 20 will be beneficial because this is going to be a new endgame zone. If it's anything like the Brimstone Sands region, the enemy difficulty sort of ramps up quite a bit. You know, when you go from questing in here and then you get to level 60, you go to Brimstone, suddenly the enemies are like quite a bit more difficult. So having the highest weapon mastery available so you get more abilities, I think is going to be good. Also for any PvP opportunities, the more weapon mastery you have is good as well. When it comes to getting weapon mastery, there's a bunch of different strategies you can do. The most popular one people do these days is heading to this spot here in Great Cleave, and you effectively just kill mobs over and over again until Captain Thorpe spawns, and then you can solo or do it with a small group. You kill Captain Thorpe, you get a big chunk of weapon XP, and then you rinse and repeat. You can also do the same sort of strategy here in Defile Excavation, where you just basically pull enemies in one at a time. In fact, I'll just show you the quick demonstration now. So here we are. Through the power of editing, we have arrived at outside Defiler Excavation here in Great Cleave. And what I like to do typically is pull enemies in with some sort of ranged weapon. So this could be the Life Staff, the Bow, the Fire Staff, the Ice Gauntlet. Even if you've got the weapon maxed out, I still think it just is a good way to go about it. You know, you can have one weapon maxed out, but we're going to be splitting the XP between the two different weapons here, and primarily looking for the melee enemies, so not really bothering with, wow, what is it called over here? The Sentry? Yeah, the Sentry is a ranged enemy. You want to get all the melee enemies because they come to you, and then that sort of makes the process easier for just doing like a big old leg sweep, and then hitting multiple enemies with the melee weapon at the same time. So you can do this with the Great Cleave, you could do the Great Cleave, the Great Sword, you could do it with the Hatchet, you could do it with the Warhammer, you could even just do it with like a big Fireball or something like that. But the reason why we want to avoid ranged enemies is because they don't come to you, you know, they sort of stay over there. So big packs of melee enemies, clumping them all up and then cleaving them all down. Very effective strategy to ramp up high amounts of weapon XP, and then we basically fire the cannon, we run in, we gather a bunch of enemies, we burn them all down, they respawn, and you just keep going again. And like I say, Defile Excavation is great for this. It's got a high mob density, a lot of the enemies are melee, but if you find another spot on the map that works, or you want to do the Captain Thorpe strategy, I think those are pretty valid as well. The next most important thing to do in order to prepare for the expansion, and what I would be doing with this character if it was my only level 60, would be working on my trade skills. We have had it confirmed that all of the trade skills, right now they max out at 200, but they're going to be going to 250 in the expansion, and there's probably going to be some pretty juicy recipes and some powerful items locked behind the 250 crafting. The devs have sort of talked about how they want to give more power to crafters and allow them to make better items. My suspicion is, though, there will be a restriction behind that, and that they'll probably be bind on pickup. I don't know if you're going to be able to trade them to everybody, so you'll be able to make a really good item, like almost a best in slot perfect item with the perfect perks and stats that you want, but it's going to be quite an investment. You're going to need to be max crafting, and like I said, don't think you're going to be able to trade it to other players, but we will have to check that out. I also think there's going to be new gatherables as well. There's probably going to be new types of things that you can mine, and trees that you can chop, and plants that you can harvest and stuff. So yeah, getting your gathering, refining, crafting skills to 250, I think is going to, or 200, so they can go to 250, I think is going to be important for the expansion as well. One of the steps that I would definitely be making with this character, if it was my only level 60, is ranking up my faction reputation. So right now, we're not even at Ravager yet, but if we can get all the way to the max tier of Commander, that will then allow us to unlock the next tier after that. The Amazon devs have confirmed there's going to be a new tier of faction ranks for Covenant, Syndicate, and Marauder. Some people, I've noticed, like to not choose to play a faction. You can do that, but I do believe you're going to be at a disadvantage, because I think the next tier of stuff that they add on the store is going to be really, really good. I do think that they're really stepping up the rewards and what you can get from the faction store, but it's also going to cost a lot of faction tokens, I'm sure. So if you haven't already, the new faction token cap, I think, is 150,000. It says 30,000 there, but when you get to 5, I think it's 150k tokens. So if you're looking to grind out some faction rep fairly quickly, my recommendation is doing PvP missions in the Brimstone Sands region. They are fast, efficient. You can do them pretty quickly. If you don't want to do PvP, you're just strictly adverse to it, then PvE missions will also work. But I think, like I say, the Brimstone Sands region, Reekwater is also pretty good as well, and some people like to do Great Cleave because it's a pretty short run around there. So those would be my 3 recommendations, but effectively you're just going to be picking up faction missions from your faction vendor, doing them, hand back in, rinse and repeat, and eventually you'll get a quest in the faction story. I think it's in the faction story, or it's some sort of progression area where you can rank up. And you want to get to the max rank and get to max tokens, because I think that's going to be pretty important for the expansion as well. Next up in the video, we're going to talk about things that I think are probably important, but not as necessary as the stuff that we previously discussed. The first thing is the season pass. So if you've watching this video within like the first week of it coming out, you still got a decent amount of time to get some season pass rewards. There is some fairly nice stuff in here. Most of it's probably not going to transfer into the expansion, like Gypsum orbs, for example. Not really sure, or Umbral Shards. We'll talk about those later on. But there are some of these sort of boosty tokens that you can pick up. So increase the character's yield by 10% for 90 minutes. Not too bad. So this is the free track up here. If you want to go for the paid track, I believe you can do it in like 10 days or less, but it is mainly going to involve using the activity card. You just complete 3 activities, boom, boom, and then finish the card. I think some people make the mistake that you have to go for a full row or 2 rows or finishing the whole square, but in my experience, the fastest way to do it is just do 3, 3 easy ones: killing ancient enemies, killing the lost, and what else would be pretty straightforward here? Skinning tier 5 animals. We could do that really quick in some areas. Finish card, rinse and repeat, keep going for 3. If you don't like the activities that you see, you can also click the reroll button. It costs a little bit of Azoth to do this over and over again, but I think this is the fastest way. Also, some of the journey missions are ridiculously easy as well, like collecting 1 glyph or crafting an item. Some of these you're going to find pretty easy to do as well. But yeah, it is possible to level up the season pass fairly quickly. And like I say, the rewards aren't incredible. They're not going to be game-changing, but some of them are probably going to be pretty good. In particular, getting these boosty tokens. I believe these are probably going to work in the expansion. There's maybe a little bit of discussion about pay to win there, because you can also buy these off the store. But we're not going to get sidetracked with that for this video. There's also some skins and transmog tokens, which are nice to have for the cosmetic value as well. Something else that I think is going to be probably pretty important. I mean, you don't have to do it, but it is going to give you an advantage if you haven't already done it, is getting 3 houses. So I have my houses right now in Everfall, Windsward, and Brimstone Sands. By owning houses, there's 2 benefits that you get to this. Well, it's technically 3. You can recall to the house from anywhere on the map, which is just extra fast travel options. You also get access to crafting buffs, so Engineer's Patience and Armorer's Inspiration are currently being bestowed on me for having a house in Brimstone. I'm getting Weaponsmith's Temperament from Windsward, and from Everfall, we're getting Armorer's Inspiration, Weaponsmith's Temperament. This is just going to help you with crafting, so it's not super important if you're not into crafting, but some nice little buffs that you can get there. Most importantly, though, having houses gives you access to trophies. So if you have a house, you can put trophies down on the wall. So if we pick this one up here, you can see right now in Brimstone, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trophies down and room for a 5th slot. So you can put up to 5 trophies down, and then you have an extra, like, sort of cosmetic one that you introduced with seasons. But you don't really need to worry too much about the cosmetic trophy. So right now in this house here, I have a Beast trophy, Angry Earth trophy. I think that's is that Lost or is that Ancient? Ancient trophy. A major skinning gathering trophy, and a major loot luck trophy. Now, we're not entirely sure if there's going to be a new tier of trophies coming with the expansion. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But in general, these trophies are pretty handy. 5% extra damage to beasts, 5% extra damage to Angry Earth, and you can stack that buff. You can't have the same trophy down in the same house, but you can have one of each type. So if you have another house in Everfall and then another house in Windsward, then you can put, again, another one of those trophies down. So we take a quick look here. I've got a Angry Earth trophy in Windsward, and then another one in Everfall, another one in Brimstone Sands. So that's 15% extra damage I get against the Angry Earth because of these trophies. And unlike Bane and Ward, they are not going to be removing the damage-specific bonus that you get with the trophies. They have confirmed this in Discord and in videos. Trophies are here to stay, so they're probably a good investment, and as a result, you're going to need houses to put them down. You don't need to buy a big house. You can just buy a cheap house if you want. The biggest benefit of buying a bigger house is you get to put more storage chests down, which then increases your storage capacity. We could make a whole separate video on housing if you guys want to see that. Let me know in the comments down below. We'll talk about where's a good place to buy houses and whether you should buy tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, but I just wanted to bring up the note that buying a house is probably going to be important so you can put down the trophies. So you can get extra damage buffs and maybe the extra gathering and loot luck if you're interested in that. Something else I've been doing in the meantime while I'm waiting for the expansion to come out is stockpiling materials. So every day I've been gathering star metal, I've been getting iron, rawhide, wire fiber and silkweed, normal fibers, just generally a lot of every material, because we do know that there is going to be this crafting increase. We've already talked about it. Crafting is going to be going up to 250. And there is going to be new craftables almost certainly because of that. Now, some people have speculated that there's going to be a brand new type of material. Like right now, the sort of max level stuff that you can get, or smelting, here we go. You can get Asmodium right now. That's like the most valuable material when it comes to smelting ingots. And you can get glittering ebony, phoenix weave, runic leather. Some people say, Asmodium's not going to be important anymore because there's going to be a new material. But I would sort of point to the evidence of the way crafting has worked in New World for a long time now, since the game came out, and I think even since like the beta and maybe the alpha. If you want to make the highest tier material Asmodium, you need orichalcum. If you want to make orichalcum, you need platinum or star metal. If you want to make star metal, you need steel. If you want to make steel, you need iron. They have this sort of pyramid scheme. That's not the right word, but they have a pyramid progression where you need the tier material below in order to make the next material, and then the next material to make the next one after that, and the next material to make the next one after that. So it stands to believe that if there is going to be a new type of ingot, a new type of leather, a new type of cloth, then it's probably going to require some amount of the previous tier. So I think stockpiling materials, whilst I can't guarantee it's going to be valuable, I'm fairly sure it is. And that's basically what I spend most of my time playing New World on this maxed out character. We're just gathering a lot of materials every day. To that same extent, while you are out gathering materials, you will also be collecting some of this stuff as well. So we've got abnormal ore, strange ore, and then unusual ore. This also exists in the form of resin and pollen and bones as well. These are basically all materials that you can use to bump up your experience in certain gathering and crafting trades. So for example, if we go to the tannery and then I take my camera off, you can see down here, research gathering, we have the option to make these research notes here, and we can make 2 with the abnormal bone. With our unusual bones, we can make another one of these. I'm going to burn one now just for the demonstration of the video, but if we craft this, it says study the unusual bone to learn a large amount of skinning trade skill experience. So we pop that there. And yeah, we get a large amount of, funny enough, skinning and tracking XP there. Now, these are going to be used. We have had it confirmed by the devs. These will still continue to exist in the expansion, but they are going to limit the amount that you can sort of use per day to 3. So I think 3 of each kind is what they were suggesting. So stockpiling tons and tons of them isn't going to have a huge advantage, but if you do want to have a little bit of a boost and get ahead fast and max out your logging and your mining and your harvesting on day 1 so you can gather whatever the next tier of material is, stockpiling some of these probably going to be useful. And like I say, you can just get them just by going out and gathering stuff. The higher tier of the thing that you gather, the higher tier of the bone or the pollen or the resin or the ore that you get. To that same extent, you can also level up your weaponsmithing. So that was for refining or gathering. Now this is for like weaponsmithing, arcana, all of the sort of top row skills that you get along here. There's also research notes that you can make with fragments as well. So you can see we can make master weaponsmithing research notes. If we pop one of these, we'll get a big chunk of weaponsmithing XP as well. So again, if you want to have a little bit of a sneaky boost on the first day, and they're probably going to limit the amount that you can use of these as well, you can get that just by salvaging stuff. So if you break armor and weapons down, you get the fragments, and then you can use those fragments once the cap goes up to quickly get to the new max and start crafting things before other people, so you can make more gold, because the people who get there first, it's certainly going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be profitable to be one of the first in. Lastly, talking about profits, we already kind of covered it, but making trophies I do think is going to be advantageous. So focusing on your furnishing or just building up gold so you can buy some of these, I think is going to be good. If you really want to, there are these ultimate trophies that they've made now, and I'll show you how you can get those real quick. One thing to note with the ultimate trophies is it kind of combines everything together. So in the demonstration with gathering, for example, it's harvesting, logging, mining, skinning, and fishing. So you would have to have a major harvesting, a major logging, a major mining, and a major skinning, and a major fishing trophy all at the same time. But what it allows you to do is, rather than filling up all 5 slots by putting those on the wall, you combine it into one ultimate trophy, and it gives you all of them at the same time. This also exists for combat, and in combat it's particularly advantageous because you get the ancient, and then you have the angry earth, then you have the beast, then you have the lost, then you have the corrupted, and then you have the humans as well. So there's actually 6, I think, in total right now, different trophies that you can put down. So there's actually more enemy types than there is trophy slots available. So by making an ultimate version of the trophy, you can save yourselves a lot of space. But the kicker is, you have to have all mages, and you also need to go to the faction store. Again, we got to max out right now what we have, and we need a ton of tokens. They're available down here, so you can see these component ultimate combat trophy, component ultimate gathering trophy, and another one for crafting as well. But there are 100,000 faction tokens and 45,000 gold a pop each. So my sort of, as you can see here, I haven't really bothered getting too many of them. I made one gathering trophy, and then I just looked at the amount of gold I had left, and I thought maybe this gold is probably going to be useful for the expansion. So I'm just going to hold on to the gold and not burn any more now. But if you do have like excess amounts of gold to spend, if you are balling, then you could look to get some ultimate trophies that probably will be useful in the expansion as well. Now, lastly in this video, we're going to talk about a few things that you can do that will probably have a small benefit, but I don't think it's something that you should hugely focus on unless it sounds interesting to you. The first one is the PvP rewards track. So for those of you who don't know, they added this back in, I think it was in 2022. It was sort of in May of 2022. They added in a rewards track, and basically you do any form of PvP, from open world to wars, PvP missions, arenas, outpost rush, And it gives you PvP experience, and it also gives you Azoth Salt as well. So you get like PvP Salt and PvP experience. As you get more experience, you sort of level up your rank effectively, but it only goes in one direction, so the rank doesn't really matter for matchmaking. But you get more experience and you go higher and higher, and Star Metal is the highest rank. And as you can see, the reward pool, it adds more stuff into the reward pool. So once you get to silver, you get Grand Armor and Predator weapons. Once you get to gold, more coin, more tokens, more potions. Once you get to platinum, it sort of makes the loot table better and better as you level up. So if you haven't already and you're interested in it, and you want, typically they are PvP related rewards, then you can do some 3v3 arena or some outpost rush in order to get a bit of PvP XP, so that when you start playing in the expansion, you're going to start getting offered some pretty nice rewards appropriate for now level 65 700 gear score players. For those of you more cosmetically minded who just want to look as fashionable as possible, you can also earn transmog tokens as well. So you can buy these in the store, or you can also get them from chest runs as well. So I have a whopping 0 transmog tokens on my character right now. But if you're not aware, you can get these in-game for free. It's a 1% drop chance from elite chests. So that would involve doing a chest run, something like Merc Guard. Let's see, what are people doing right now? People are putting plus ATT in our chat here. So ATT is Atlas Foundry, which is located over here. So just opening up chests, there's a 1% chance that you'll get it from the elite chests in that area. They also come from chests in expeditions as well. So trying to open as many chests as you can in a week. Every week on Tuesday, 5 a.m. server time, it resets and you can get another transmog token. But the kicker is you can do this on multiple different characters. So the transmog tokens are account-wide, and the one per week is character-based rather than account-based. So you could get multiple characters to level 60 and do multiple chest runs on multiple characters to earn multiple transmog tokens. But the sheer amount of time that it would take you to do that, you could probably just, I don't know, go work a 9-to-5 job and get whatever money, get paid for that, and then buy them from the store. It probably would be a more efficient use of your time, but just making you aware that that is something you could do if you want to get more transmog tokens. Lastly, some quick stuff that I want to say in this video. People might be asking, what about my weapons and armor and all that stuff, Baggins? Do I need to get to 625? Do I need to have some like juicy legendary weapons? Whilst it will help you with like, you know, your sort of first initial quests in the new zone, I don't think they're going to be necessary. Amazon have confirmed that they're doing away with the whole expertise system, so it's like slowly grinding the number up so you can get like legendaries to drop and stuff like that. They're doing away with it. Also, Umbral Shards, the idea right now that you get Umbral Shards and then you can use them on lower gear score items, hit the upgrade button, and then you can upgrade the gear score of something. That's also going away as well. There's no more upgrading. So I really wouldn't focus too much on your weapons and armor because there's going to be brand new stuff. And right now we're capped at 625, but 625 is probably just going to drop off of enemies and come as quest rewards in the new zone. And it's going all the way up to 700. So 700, bigger number, better item as a result. So yeah, I'm saying don't really worry too much about your weapons and armor because there is going to be new, better stuff with the expansion. However, specifically on the topic of Umbral Shards, we do see this come up quite often. What are they going to do with Umbral Shards? We don't 100% know, but there is one piece of information out here. You guys might have seen it. Basically, Amazon invited a bunch of games journalists to preview the event. So they give them a little bit of like a conference and they talked about, you know, what's going to be happening in the expansion. One particular article from Massively Overpowered, and we'll link this in the description down below, talks about Umbral Shards. Now, it is worth mentioning that no other journalist, no other sort of article that covered the expansion talked about this, but this one in particular, if we just go ahead and take a look for Umbrals, here it is. In the gear revamp section, they say, the often controversial expertise system is gone, which we know to be true. They did talk about that. Along with Umbral Shards, which will be converted to gold. Now, that's an interesting statement. And again, it doesn't exist anywhere else on the internet. When we asked the devs about this, they said that they don't really have any comment yet. They don't have anything further to comment on that one yet. So whether this is true, whether this was like some information that the devs have then sent, like reworked and rethought about how they're going to do, we don't know. I don't think it's going to be a 1-to-1 conversion ratio because, you know, I mean, even for me right now, we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then there's another 6,000 Umbral Shards in each one of these boxes. I'm going to have a lot of Umbral Shards, and I don't have really that many compared to some other players. There's people out there who literally have millions, so I think it would be a massive flooding of gold into the economy and probably unbalance servers quite a lot. Whether it'll be like a 10-to-1, 100-to-1, 1,000-to-1 ratio, or they simply won't allow you to convert to gold at all. Remains to be seen. If you guys do want an update on what happens with that situation, make sure you go ahead and click the subscribe button. We'll get you guys notified. When we know, you guys will know. I'll make a video on it. But looking at the length of this video here, I think we're probably ready to wrap this one up. I didn't want to have this be a huge, sprawling, mega long video because there isn't that much preparation to be done. Honestly, if you really want to come back in and jump into the expansion, all you need is a level 60 character. Like I say, I think getting the heart rune would probably be pretty important. But outside of that, it seems like Amazon's intention is to have players come back, and even if you haven't played the game for like 2 years, you can jump back in and you're not going to really feel too behind because there's just brand new everything to do and nobody has any of the new stuff. So yeah, not that much preparation needs to be done. If you want to, you can follow the tips in this video. One last thing that I want to cover as well is people have been asking, should I hold on to boxes of loot? Should I hold on to my Outpost Rush boxes? I'm doing it, but I don't think it's going to be to any benefit whatsoever. I think I'm going to open up all these boxes on the day of the expansion, and they're just going to give like 590, maybe 600 gear score items. I don't think I'm going to be getting any 700 gear score legendary amazing artifact items out of these. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't really have too much to lose by not opening the boxes because there's nothing I particularly need on this character. So I'm stockpiling boxes. I don't think you need to do it. I think it is probably going to be pointless. But I thought we'd mention that. If you guys have any further questions or comments, anything you want to know about the expansion, jump into the stream. We're live every day talking about New World, especially during the expansion. We're going to be doing some big long streams, so we'll put a link to the stream in the description down below. Any further comments, obviously the YouTube comments as well. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.